Alright, so I'm going to hide After Effects. Go to After Effects and hide. And I'm going to take a look at Illustrator. So when you open Illustrator up, you get something that looks kind of like this. I'm just going to click Done. I'm going to go to File and New. And whenever you create graphics for video, you always want to go to your profile and choose Video and Film, whether you're in Illustrator or, I'm going to call this logo, Photoshop. Size, I want HDV 1080, HDTV 1080. HDV 1080 is 1440 wide, HDTV is 1920 wide. I want the real deal. See, if we go to HDV, it's giving us both the same size. I'm going to choose HDV TV anyway, make sure. Alright, transparency grid, I want it off. It makes things kind of crazy. Default, that's fine. And everything else looks pretty good. Click on OK. And we get something that looks slightly familiar here to what we've been working with. Going ahead in After Effects, we get our safe margins. Helps us a lot when we're laying out projects. I'm gonna save it as a logo. Alright. Okay. I'm gonna make this really simple. I'm not gonna do a whole lot with it. But we'll go into layers here, and just want to make sure that I'm alright. Now when you want to animate things in After Effects, you want to import Illustrator files directly into the program. It's really important, okay, that you save everything as individual layers. So I'm going to call this first one, I'm going to call it circle, and then I'll have another one and call it text. Alright, I'm going to turn text off and make sure that I'm only working on circle. Just like Photoshop and other Adobe products, you have a toolbar here. You have a lot of palettes. Mine is probably a little bit different than what you see. If I say go to your character palette, mine's up here. That just means you need to go to Window and make sure that there's a check by under Type and Character. If you don't see yours, same with Pathfinder. Got to scroll down, make sure there's a check by Pathfinder under Window. So if I say you need to get this tool and use this, if you don't see it like mine, then just go to Window and make sure that there's a check mark by that tool palette that I mentioned. Alright, just like everything else, you have, and I'll go down here to my shape tool, and this is rectangle or box. Just like every other Adobe project, you have a fill and a stroke. So I'm going to draw this. The fill is the color inside here, and the stroke is the outline. Alright, so if I click this and I click on my stroke, I can select this little button that says none, and it gets rid of it. Since that's white and it's hard to see, I can select that again, click on this, bring it to the front, double click on it, and choose a different color. Alright, pretty simple stuff. Alright, anytime you see this little tiny arrow here on any palette option, if you click and hold, that means you get a subset of tools. Alright, we're going to do that with the rectangle tool and go down to the ellipse tool. Go ahead, I'm going to turn on mouse pose A for you. Alright, that way, keystrokes, you'll see my hotkeys. Alright, I think there's a problem there. Alright, so I gotta allow this program really quickly and pause. Okay. If I hold down Shift on my keyboard and drag, you'll see that I get a nice even circle. If I just select the ellipse tool, drag it without holding Shift, I might get something that's not proportionate. I don't think I want that color there. Maybe a blue, gray or something like that. Maybe something like that. Okay, so hold down Shift, drag it out. I'm going to copy this, change my color, something a little bit darker. Oops. Already copied it. Deselect it first. Then change my color to something a little bit darker. And hit Command F. And that's going to place that object in front of the object I just created. I didn't take my color. But if I hold down Option and Shift and drag in from one of these corners, you'll see that I actually pasted that blue circle on top of itself, or a copy of it. Command F means it's going to paste it in front. Okay. Now I hold down this one selected. I'm holding down Shift and select the other one. I can use my Pathfinder tool here to select the front from the back, so I get like this transparent ring there. All right. I'm going to get T. And I have colors actually over here. Cooler colors you can import. I'm going to use one of these color palettes so that it actually doesn't look terrible. All right. Select T and call it final. Maybe find something, a font that I like. Hold down Shift and you can drag it out. A plus. Yeah. I'm going to go with Futura. I like Futura. It's one of my favorite fonts. You can find the center. If you don't have it, Command R and you get the rulers. Just drag this a ruler out until it's in the center of these and let it go. All right. And then I can just select this and use my arrows on my keyboard to move it over. And now it's in the center. All right. Which is cool. All right. So I could make this into an object. And we're going to need to. I'm going to just tell you how to do it. Command Shift O turns editable text into a vector. Okay. I am going to Command X and cut this. Okay. It needs to go in its text layer. So make sure text layer is selected and then Command F. If, remember, it's hidden, it says we're trying to paste it in the hidden layer. Do we want to turn it on? Say yes. So now it's in its own layer there. Alright, just Command S. Alright. So I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to come back over here. And I'm going to find this other center point going horizontally. That way I can get a rectangle tool. And I'm going to draw a little line. I'm going to use it to cut through this with our Pathfinder. I'm just give it a different color so I can see it. So select this, select the one behind it, and then cut it. And then, well, gotta make it a color, copy it, then select both of them, cut it. Command F to paste it. Hold, move your mouse until you get a little arrow like this over one of these corners. Hold down Shift. Come like this, select it, and minus. Oh, might have to do like this. Oh, ungroup. Okay, like that. All right. So now we have these individual pieces, select them all, group them, Command G. All right, gonna turn this on. So now we have a cool little logo here. All right. Let me move this over just a little. Move this down so it's centered there. All right. So now we could shrink this down a little bit. Select both of these. Hold down Shift. Drag this in. I'm going to put it down here because this is where it's going to go. Maybe even Command Shift and resize from the center. It doesn't need to be too big, just big enough that we can see what's going on. So that's pretty cool. All right. So now you can save this project, and that logo will actually be ready to import straight into After Effects, which is really cool. All right. So that is an overview of Illustrator and some basic tools. So enjoy.